So how is it going with your spiritual journey? I know for me that there are some times when it feels really great and I seem to be achieving things, and my meditations are wonderful, my inner journeys are beautiful, and then there are times when it becomes dry and arid. So I'm wondering if you sometimes experience the same thing, where it feels sometimes like you're going around in circles. You're not making progress. You've reached a plateau. And perhaps the spiritual journey has become meaningless in a sense, or just dry, and you can't feel the juice that you once felt with it. If so, don't worry. There's a name for this condition. It's called the 4D spiritual trap. I know it very well because I've been in it lots. So in this video, I'm going to outline what the trap is, and most importantly, how you can break free from it. So stay tuned. And because this is a little bit technical, I'm going to use some slides to help me. So let's take a look. And the first model I want to show you is the 4-body model. And this is going to help us understand the 4D spiritual trap. So the first piece here is to know that you've got 4 bodies. Did you know that? Well, we have the physical body, which is sometimes called the gross body. We all know that very well. It's physical matter, right? But then around that, you have what is commonly thought of as the aura, the astral field, and we can refer to this as the subtle body. By the way, these names come from Eastern philosophy like Vedanta. They have the 4 bodies, or perhaps more. Sometimes they're divided up. Ken Wilber uses this gross, subtle, causal, nondual method. So I find it works very well for me to conceptualize, so that's why I'm sharing it here. So your subtle is your mental body, your emotions, your energy field, your aura. If you do body work, if you do energy work, if you do Reiki, that's subtle body. If you do astral travel, if you do psychic development, subtle level. So many of us will be quite familiar with that. Then around that we have the causal body, and this is quite mysterious because not many people teach it, but it is essentially the now, its presence. And here you have the sense of I am. And it is mysterious in the sense that it's not easy to feel. It's more like felt as spaciousness. So Eckhart Tolle, when he teaches, he will speak about this level. He doesn't call it the causal level, but we can associate that with the now. It's also associated with the I am. So just pure presence of I am. Right. So that is not the end of the journey yet, because we have another body called the non-dual layer. This is even more mysterious. It is really where your sense of self blends into that which is observed. So there's no sense of being a separate self left anymore. Okay, so that's just briefly these 4 models. There is more to come to help us understand, but that'll give you an idea, and we'll pick this up again soon. The next model I want to look at is the densities, because if you're talking about the 4D trap, what is D, density, what is the densities? Well, let's look. So here we have a white screen. This is God before creation. So imagine that God comes into creation, or consciousness comes in. The first thing it's going to do is manifest perhaps as matter. So that gives us our first level as 1D, and we can associate it with minerals and elements. Next up, those minerals and elements evolve into basic life forms, animals and plants, instinct consciousness. So this is the instinct. 2D consciousness is about instinct. And that's everything from single cell organisms up to animals, the ones we love, our domestic pets, and pack animals. That's about the upper limit of 2D consciousness. Okay. So those, then you can imagine them evolving. If they evolve, they become 3D. 3D is where most of humanity is at, and we are most part of our day in 3D consciousness. So the thing about 3D is the first time that consciousness wakes up to being a separate being. You have the sense of I am someone who is separate. So this is the birth of the ego. I've got here matrix people and materialistic. It's that level of consciousness which is very Newtonian, only believes in what you can see is real. Anything else is a bit spooky. They don't go for that stuff. If there's religion at this level, it's quite formalistic, conventional religions, right? But we know that's not enough, because what happens, you get curious with that level breaks down. What is next? Well, that's where we have the 4th density. 4th density is often associated with love, yes, but it's our mental, emotional, astral, subtle energies. So those of us on the spiritual journey, we'll spend quite a bit of time here on journeys, healing ourselves. Also the great area of psychology, coaching. We're doing our inner work. A lot of work happens here. Mental, emotional, feeling states. Working on the love frequency, how to love ourselves more. But that is not the end of the journey because, well, we have 5D. 5D is the now, presence awareness. And here we explore wisdom. So here it becomes a little bit more tricky and we're unfamiliar with it. The now is I am. So in the sort of green turquoisey color here in the middle, I've got your sense of self at each level. So at 5D, you really is I am, just presence, I am. 4D is I am my thoughts and emotions. With 3D is I am what I do, my role. Okay, so 5D is I am, just very present. What's beyond that? 6D, union of love and wisdom, presence, emptiness. This is more non-dual. I call it 6D plus because it's a bit difficult at those levels to ascertain exactly what level, where different levels are. All we need to know is that you go from 5D, which is I am, to more I, the pure presence, before it becomes in any way a separate being. So 5D, the key here is also, it's the witness state. So there's a subtle sense of being separate. I am, your ego is still there, but it's very, very fine. Whereas 60 plus, that starts to obliterate. Okay, so just hold those thoughts. We are still getting to the 4D spiritual trap. Now we want to put these models together. So I've brought back our little chap here with the 4 bodies, gross, subtle, causal, non-dual. Can you perhaps sense how these 2 models fit together? So I'll let you in on the secret. I've drawn these green lines here. At 3D, I am what I do. That relates to the gross physical body and just the Newtonian mechanical level of existence. It's also edges into subtle because you're using mental. So it's the formal mental level. You're mainly using your gross body and you're thinking your brain. Okay. Then we have, when we start doing spiritual work, we have our thoughts and emotions. There you work in the subtle body, astral traveling, dreams, equated with dreamy sleep. Okay, subtle body. Above that, the I am 5D is causal. Mostly you're working from a causal level. And then above that will be your non-dual. So you're using these different bodies to interface more with reality. So when you're still starting out just gross body, that's all you know. But the more you expand into spiritual awareness, the more you become aware, the more levels of yourself that you activate. Alright, so here I've just simplified the diagram to make things easier. And now finally we can see what is the 4D spiritual trap. You might even guessed what it is already. There it is. It's that red line that I've got there between 4D and 5D. Why is this a trap? Think about 5D and up as being awareness. I am, and I. Pure awareness. Below that is mind, body, and energy. So the tricky thing here with the mind, body, and energy group is that there's still ego involved. When you go on journeys, there's still time involved. I've got some notes here. Stuck in time and stories of self. Endless self-improvement. That we self-improve. Can you see how self-improvement at one level is wonderful, but then it also becomes, I'm not perfect now. I have to do something to achieve something. The peace is conditional. It's conditional on my physical state of being now. But the real truth is when you can go beyond that red line, you'll know that peace is without condition. You'll experience the peace of God that is beyond understanding. Or sometimes I call it the kingdom of heaven. Eckhart also refers to the kingdom of heaven. That's north of that red line I've got there. It's in your awareness zone. So down here below we've got subtle ego and the passing states. So that's why you feel you've got it and then you've lost it. Got it, lost it. The trap is thinking that that is the end of your journey. And that when you lose that state, you have somehow failed at your spirituality. So that traps you in a lower vibration. So you start to feel bad. And that becomes a border because nobody teaches you how to go across it. So there is a way to go across. I've got some solutions here, what to do. So first thing is to do is just to know about these levels. And the one thing is just include and transcend. So when you hit this wall, the 4D spiritual trap, you're not getting anywhere. Just know that you're in your subtle body and you've reached the end of what it can do for you. You want to go beyond time. So then number 2, know when to let go of gross and subtle work. So that's it. There comes a time when you want to let go of all that psychological work, all that stuff. It becomes more stuff. So you've got to do it, but there's a point when you've got to let it go, because it's all in time, and it all involves subtle ego, and it all involves you not being perfect yet. See, that's the trap. I'm not there yet. When in fact you are. At the causal and nondual level, you are already whole and complete. All that requires is you to step into that. And I didn't mention this before, but the causal is tricky because at first it feels like nothing. It feels like emptiness. It's also called the body of emptiness. Or the Buddhists call it emptiness. Eckhart Tolle speaks of it. He says he prefers the word spaciousness. It's a little bit easier to grasp, spaciousness. But even then, it is so subtle that it's easy to miss or think, oh, that's just, I feel spaciousness. How does that help me with my life? Because it's your mind saying there's nothing to gain from it. So what you want to do is rest into the causal body more and more, become more familiar with it, to just be present. There's that barrier. It's a real, guys, this trap, it's a real thing, and it's held and also in place by the fact that your mind will tell you that's what beyond it is not worth going to, because it's very boring. I also feel that sometimes, this is very boring, but I know now to sit with it and carry on. Okay? What did I say here? 3, practice presence and becoming comfortable with doing nothing. Yes, presence practice, I am. Doing nothing, I am. Your mind will tell you you've got to do something. I must do my spiritual work, I must do my psychological work, I'm not there yet. Yes, you are here. Just stop. Do nothing. Number 4, accept your imperfections. Here's the thing again, the trap will tell you that you need to fix all your imperfections. Guess what? You're going to be in therapy for 100 years. You will not fix all your stuff. It's unfixable. The world is broken, and its duality, so it will stay broken. You've got to rise above it or go within it to know that you're already whole and complete without this outside world being fixed. Very important. So accept your imperfections. You're going to be imperfect. You're going to lose your shit sometimes. There's no way around it. You're going to lose it. But can you then apologize? Or can you then do something about that later? Can you just be impeccable with what happens? Unconditional love is accepting how you show up. Cool. Number 5, feel all emotions and resist nothing. A key to moving into this causal is just to feel the experience. Because the subtle can involve a lot of subtle avoidance. The more healing work we do, and intending, a law of attraction also sits there, we sometimes are trying to avoid difficult feelings. But when you stop doing and go into presence, what can come up is a lot of the negative stuff that one hasn't wanted to feel. So the art then is just to sit and feel it. All you got to do is feel it. Can you say yes to what's showing up? If there's resistance, can you say yes to the resistance? Just keep doing it until you find the yes. I can be in this resistance now. And in that acceptance comes ease. And that ease is coming from beyond the subtle body. It's coming from the causal. It is beyond duality. It's beyond cause. Number 6, create from the now without expectation of outcome. Yes, very important practice. Just be in the now. I am. What wants to happen now? What is the most exciting or the most alive thing in me now? Sometimes it's nothing, then I just sit. It can be as simple as going for a walk. Forget about planning sometimes, because plans as well as gross and subtle. We want to control. But if planning comes up in the moment as the most exciting thing to do, do the planning. But it only counts for that moment. You're not actually doing anything with the planning. It's just life living through you. It's that, let's express ourselves as a plan. But there is only this now. So don't go from the plan to having expectations of outcome. That is the trap again. Must have an outcome. They give up outcomes. It's quite tough, this actually. But this is generally what I will be talking about. The movement from subtle into causal, and then from there into non-dual. So my friends, I hope that has clarified a little bit for you about the 4D spiritual trap and how you might set yourself free from it. If you enjoy this material, do like and subscribe, because I will be presenting more of it. So I'll see you next video, and until then, practice presence. I am, you are divinely okay as you are right now. Just know it.